Hello everyone and welcome back to more AEW on TEW 2020. We are almost done with the month of January on our road to Revolution, but for now we just got an episode of Dark. Start off with Willpower defeating the Von Erichs. I think I had this says open. I didn't really care which team won. Priscilla Kelly defeats Yuka Sakazaki. Chris Statlander defeats Elena Black. Garza Jr. defeats Austin Gunn. Bernice defeats Harlow O'Hara. Brian Pillman Jr. defeats David Fudra. Jordan Grace defeats Kylie Ray. Debuting Treehouse Lee defeats Martin Valentine. Pac defeats Jonathan Gresham. And to finish off our show, the Private Party defeats Hot Chocolate. There's a team that already existed between Myron Reed and Pineapple Pete. So, there we go. That ends our show of Dark. As always, Dynamite starts off with the pre-show and the recap of what happened in D&D on Brandon Cutler's D&D Hour. So for this one, they come across, the band, it's still just, these 8. They've come across a village that's not looking in good shape, It's literally burned to the ground. They see some people, mainly someone that looks like Michael Nakazawa, let's just say. A lot of the D&D stuff I am doing off the top of my head, so this is a lot of improv stuff. I kind of just have a, alright, here's who's involved for this one. Let's make a story around that. But anyways, so they come to Michael Nakazawa and they ask, hey, what the hell happened to this village? And Nakazawa, obviously, in the actual canon they would be played by, who they are, but, in this they're, it's a manifestation of who they really are. They're not actually here. But they talk about a band of raiders known as the Blood Brothers, led by the War King, simply known as Kingston. And so, they tried to fight him off, but all of them, no one in the town was strong enough to defeat any of them. They weren't able to defeat the War King, they weren't able to defeat either of their masked raiders, they weren't able to defeat, either the Butcher or the Blade. Those are cool enough names to leave as fantasy names. Or the Samoan Werewolf. And so, they're like, alright, this is a problem. But not because I was like, hey, you don't have to worry about them. They're out somewhere else. They're dealing with something else. And they continue, and these guys, the 8 people who are stuck in D&D world continue on towards the kingdom where John Silver, okay, he is King Silver, it's John Silver, where he is chilling out. The show proper starts off with Kodabushi defeating Bandito. Bandito with a 55. That's actually really good. Afterwards, Koda doesn't celebrate at all. His music is playing, but he asks for Justin Roberts' microphone. He gets it. He sits down in the middle of the ring until the music ends. And Koda just says, when I heard back in October, when Tony Khan and Jon Moxley offered me a contract about what Kenny was doing, I knew that I had to step in. Cody and Nick and Matt and Adam, they're certainly some of Kenny's friends, but even they understand that no one knows Kenny like I do. Yet, when I see him in AEW, I don't see the Kenny I know, I don't see the Kenny that I loved. The Kenny I know is like me. The Kenny I know enjoys wrestling for the sake of wrestling. That's not what Kenny's doing. Kenny has betrayed what makes him him. He has betrayed what I loved about him. He's betrayed all of that passion and simply is going for gold. I'm deeply saddened by your actions, Kenny, but I know you're still in there, and I can help you regain that fire. And then Koda just kind of gently sets down the mic, and he leaves. No music plays. Koda is a sad boy. This is a very angle-heavy show, by the way, so this is probably going to be a long episode. For example, right afterwards, we see Miroslav backstage, and he's very mad that he hasn't been booked on Dynamite the past few weeks. Matt Sydal approaches him and tries to calm down. He says, Miro, I know things are a little frustrating right now, but being angry isn't the way to go about there. go about it. People out there love you, man. People out in the crowd, people out at home, there's a reason. Every match is still met with chants of Miro Day. I know things are looking bleak right now, but let me try to help you out a little bit. Me and Lance are doing some anger management, and I'd like for you to join. Don't worry, it won't cost you a thing. I just want you to, and before Matt Sydal can continue any further, Miro cuts him off and says, I do not need to restrain my anger, before tossing a plate from catering full of food at Sydal. Sydal maybe bumps for it, I don't know. Depends on how comedic you want to be. But yeah, so Matt Sydal has offered for Miro to join into his anger management. We'll see where that leads. Then, we have in the ring, Brian Pillman Jr. He has the rest of Brutality Inc., except for Pac. As Mike and Henry says, Lucha Bros, Wraith, Penta, how's it going with Eddie over there? Oh, what's that? You haven't had a chance to do what you've wanted since leaving Pac? That's what I thought. Pac is one of the best wrestling talents in the entire world, and you squandered it. You just left. You betrayed Pac for no reason, and it's brought you down. Look how I'm succeeding, because I joined with Pac and left Sting. Think of what you could do in the same situation he's probably about to say, but he doesn't get to say it because Eddie Kingston's music cuts off, and his entire Blood Brothers come out, and he says, hey, Flying Brian Jr., you gotta chillax. Look, I know you're just trying to make a name for yourself, but you gotta be calm. Look, Penta and Phoenix, they know what they're doing. They got years more experience than you. So, you know what? I think only fighting is gonna be what solves this. So how's about we settle some differences next week, 4-on-4. And Pillman, who is the de facto second in command, because really, a lot of this, probably at some point Pac's like, hey, Pillman probably has the most potential out of everyone else in this stable. So, Pillman's the second in command. He's really the one calling the shots when Pac's not present. He looks at Dijak, because Dijak is technically more experienced. And yeah, Wentz and Xavier are more experienced than him, but it's besides the point. And Dijak nods. Pillman accepts the challenge, so next week we will see, not exactly this match, it's, we'll see Blood Brothers against Brutality Inc. These four in Brutality Inc., not exactly the same for the Blood Brothers. After this, Mayu Iwatani defeats Mary Dobson. I said that very Iwatani. Not quite yet. Then, after the match, Mayu, she's celebrating until the Vicious Vixens come to the stage. And Vicky says, excuse me, I'm not going to try to do a Vicky Guerrero impression. And she just keeps yelling at until Mayu's music cuts off. Vicky says, well, if it isn't the loser of the first ever women's main event on Dynamite. I hope that's actually the case. Mayu, that's something you'll always be remembered for, if nothing else. Nyla Rose is a former AEW Women's World Champion. That's something that will forever be in the record books as something to be celebrated, while all you'll be remembered for is being a loser in a historic moment. Nyla Rose is a winner, and you are a loser. It's as simple as that. You've been trying to step on our turf, Mayu, and Nyla isn't going to allow that. And Mayu, she asks for a mic, she gets it, and she just says very bluntly, at least I was in the main event. And that causes Nyla to get very angry. And Vicky, she's trying to calm Nyla down. It's to no avail. And she rushes into the ring. Mayu, she manages to avoid either, through, I'm thinking through a leapfrog. He runs past Vicky before Nyla can get to her. Hopefully, I am changing her gimmick. And perfect. Very fine with this. Mayu's gimmick was poor before, so I wanted to change that. So now she has a great gimmick, because I feel like Mayu probably could get 60s if she had a good gimmick. Now she does. She does. After this, Bad Influence are interviewed backstage by Renee, and she asks about their actions last week against Nat Murphy. I'm imagining this is mainly Daniels talking, because I think he's the one who took the loss to Murphy last week. He says, it's honestly pretty simple, Renee. We've had a poor run over the past few months. SCU broke up when Scorpio ditched us for the Nightmare family, and when we lost to the Private Party, just last week, we lost to an unproven commodity in Nathaniel Murphy. We both knew deep down that we had to get our edge back. Being goofy and basing ourselves solely around where we physically came from wasn't doing it. We're done playing games with the Godfather. We're done losing matches. So what if the fans don't like it? We've accepted it. We're past our limelight. We're past our primes. Both of our best days are behind us. But we're not quitting just yet. No, we still have another championship run within us. Whether that's a TNT title, tag titles, hell, we'll even be willing to face Moxley for the world title if he would let us. But first, we gotta prove we're worthy of those shots. We gotta take down Nat Murphy. And so they leave. Renee's like, alright, well, I guess back to the next segment. Cass and Daniels definitely have been on a poor run of form. I don't even know if they've won a single match on Dynamite since I've started booking this, but whatever. After this, Garza Jr. defeats Andrew Everett when Everett intentionally gets counted out. Explanation in a moment, and by in a moment, I mean, actually, wow, I'm surprised they both get even rings. Right now, Andrew Everett leaves the ring, and despite Sting's insistence, he gets himself counted out once the rest of the Rose Garden comes to the ring. Kip gives Garza a mic, which prompts Garza to taunt Sting and Everett for being alone, which causes Sting, who himself has a mic, probably Justin Roberts, to sign and say, whether he likes it or not, he needs reinforcement. Lee Johnson's music then plays to no ovation, until Kairi Hojo appears and attacks Viperous and Ford. This is supposed to, okay, I'll get an explanation on this. Lays them out. Johnson and Everett then rush into the ring to help Kairi, and they do pretty well until the Rose Garden slip out of the ring. Sting offers a handshake to Lee Johnson, who takes it, but when that same handshake is offered to Kairi, she just shakes her head no. A couple things to explain with this. 1. Lee Johnson is currently Sting's protege, that is why he has joined up with Sting. 2. Brandy Lauren is not Penelope Ford. Penelope Ford right now is out with a kidney infection that was apparently gotten during a ballerina class? Ballet class? Some dance class. I don't know. I think Penelope actually returns next week, but I had already written out the segment and forgot about that. So Brandy Lauren is now part of the Rose Garden because she does fit that minimum 80 sex appeal requirement that Garza is looking for. So, I guess rest in peace, that team with Brandy Lauren and Ava Everett. Oh no. Kana then defeats Britt Baker with a Kana lock. It's important that I point out that's with the Kana lock because afterwards, Kana keeps the hold on, and the referee, they already count the 5, and Britt Baker's screaming in pain. Eventually, Shida rushes to the ring. She has a kendo stick. Kana finally releases the hold, and the two fight until Kana is overwhelmed by the kendo stick and retreats. And Shida stands tall in the ring as the two are just yelling back and forth in Japanese. It's not going to be a good show already looking by all the segment ratings. Well, this is a good one. Video of Moxley is then shown. He's talking to the camera. He's in his usual grungy little promo area. Says, "Think I'm underestimating you, Max? Well, maybe I am. I can't deny that you've managed to beat Adam. And you've certainly picked up some impressive wins, but... some impressive wins, not impressive wings. There's something else you're giving yourself a little bit too much credit for. You and your little posse. Your VIPs club, as you call them. There's a time and place for people to ally. I certainly know that, but I never thought of someone as proud as you as trying to get an upper hand by gathering a bunch of cronies to cover your weaknesses. Max, I won this title on my own. I don't need any sort of help to defend my title, unlike you. You have those people that flock to you because you're insecure, because you don't want to admit that you don't have that strength without the strength in numbers. You know what? I'm not going to let my guard down, Max, even despite all of this. Not for a minute. But I have a feeling things won't go your way at Revolution. I'm actually a little bit disappointed by only a 72 rating on a Moxley promo. Oh well. After this, Maki Ito defeats Awesome Kong. Then Abby's music plays instead of Maki's, and Maki perks up. Abby has a mic, and she says, "Something about you causes something within me to stir, like something deep inside is calling to me to remember." And then, before she can continue on, Chris Statlander's music plays. They later walk onto the stage, not into the ring, because Abby, she leaves, and she's, back to her trance phase, whatever. And she leaves the ring, she has the mic, joins Chris, the two leave. Yeah, not my best written segment, but I hope this kind of gets across what's going on. You know, Abby's like, hey, there's something about you that's different. And then Chris Statler's like, nah fam, can't have that. After this, Taz is seen in a gym, and his boys are working out behind him. He says, hey, Jungle Boy, see these lads? These absolute mammoths of men? Yeah, they're working out because of you. This is where someone normally would thank you for that, and you know what? I guess I can. Because I've realized that you're a punk that cheats to win. The Machine Brian Cage, absolute Ricky Starks, and the monster Jeff Cobb weren't ready for you 2 weeks ago, and we've all agreed to never let that happen again. No matter what tricks you try to pull on us in the future, we're gonna stomp you down, Jungle. And probably segment ends with like Taz being like, yeah, go get it, Cage, you know. No one can stop the path of Cage doing bench presses or something. I don't know. They're working out. They're looking to beat up Jungle Boy. This, an injured Brandy Rhodes is seen, accompanied by Jordan Grace. And Brandy just talks to the camera and says, Ashley, you should be lucky we brought you into this company. But instead, you go and attack me. The only reason I'm not making a petition for you to be fired is because I know how big of a draw you are. But if that mystique is brought down, maybe I can have a chance. So, Ashley, Jordan's gonna take you down. I can't do it, but Jordan is unpinned in her entire time in AEW. The only loss on her record coming from that traitor Alley being pinned in the final of the women's tag tournament. Jordan is one of the best women this company has, and I'm not gonna let you get away with running around like you own the place. Well, Jordan is here. I dropped Allie from the Nightmare family. She's gonna join up with Butcher and Blade as the Bunny again, because I have no use for Allie. After this, the Dark Order are seen in a panic, wondering what they should do. Uno finally holds up a hand and says, alright! The rest of the Dark Order, they calm down. He says, it's been a month since we've seen Mr. Brody. No one's been in contact with him since Cody fired him, but we're not gonna let that stop us, alright? Mr. Brody wouldn't want us to just panic like we are right now. He'd want us to go out there and avenge him. He'd want us to go out there and kick Cody's ass. We might be underpowered because Brody's not here, but we're not just gonna give up. Reynolds, Silver, you two go look for people to recruit. Stu, trying to find out where the hell Colt went. 5, 10, prove to some people that we're strong too. 8, chaperone Silver. I don't trust that kid because he's an idiot. Anna, Tay, if you can, start taking the fight to the Nightmare family. But if not, you have your mission that I told you about last week. Got it? Everyone nods and heads on their separate ways. Again, I think I've mentioned this before. I kind of forgot that I had the stipulation that Brody would get fired if he lost the championship. He's not actually fired, but we're working with it. I'm working on it. And in our main event, Chris Jericho defeats Charles Betts following interference from Sammy Guevara. Then, the Inner Circle are beating down Betts in the ring before FTR can show up, and when the tag team champions do arrive, they're accompanied not only by their female counterpart in Layla Hirsch, but by the debuting Zack Sabre Jr., and all four of them slide into the ring, causing the Inner Circle to be chased off. Jericho yells at Angle for being a slimy bastard that brings in people in secret to end the show. Zack Sabre Jr., big signing. That's actually not terrible. He's not really going to be using any microphones. He's not going to... Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's a lot of red, but it's fine. Show gets a 66. Yeah, very angle-heavy show. Not the best out there. I kind of forgot to have a top-tier main event, so I kind of threw this one together. It still advances the story how I wanted it to be, but... yeah, hopefully... we'll get some better things in the future if we continue our road to Revolution.